expect that. My good friends, you are welcome here to this most hallowed of places, our people's sacred amphitheater at the very peak of Mount Akhenaten, where for generations upon generations our ancestors have met once each year to celebrate the festival of the 12th moon and implore the goddesses and gods to bring us a new year of bounty. Let us start then by immediately sending our praise to the goddesses and gods above to capture their attention. You know, of course, they like nothing more than excessive, almost unwarranted rounds of applause. I will count to 3, and you may reach your voices and hoots and hollers and cheers to the very ears of the goddess herself. 1, 2, 3! I believe they are listening. My friends, we sit here tonight at the very apex of human enlightenment and civilization, here in this age of bronze, where our lives are made convenient through amazing modern inventions such as bronze-tipped spears and digging tools, the plow with which we plow our fields, the wheel, I mean the wheel, right? That's like the greatest thing since a loaf of bread. And yet, my friends, as we sit here in our comfort of the present, we must never forget the past. And therefore, we gather here each year to tell the stories of our people, to tell the stories of our goddesses and gods, our heroes and our monsters. For only by truly understanding that can we forge our way into the next millennium. And therefore, not only do these stories entertain and enlighten, but they challenge us to think deeply about life's most important questions. Where did we come from? Why are we here? And where do we go? But how can we tell these stories without a merry band of storytellers? My friends, I give you our storytellers! So we begin. And we begin at the beginning. Our first story of the evening, the creation of the heavens and the earth. Sister Tumlock, how are you today?
Very good.
It's so nice to see you here. How have your tubers grown this year?
Excellent.
I'm so glad. My friend, I know that this story, the creation of the heavens and the earth, happens to be your favorite story. So I will allow you to remind everybody what type of tool the great goddess had in the time before time.
A potato peeler.
A potato peeler! A bronze potato peeler. Yeah. In the time before time, there was nothing but the great goddess herself. And the great goddess herself had her bronze potato peeler always at hand. In the murky mist of the Netherworld, she would search for cosmic potatoes. And when she found them, she would peel them with vigor. And yet, after a millennium of this, she grew weary of peeling potatoes and having no one to cook potatoes for. And so, she sat despondently on a piece of nothing. And then an idea struck her, and from her left hand she created another god. And this god was hot.
Wow, you're really appealing.
Thank you.
I'm going to name you Pote.
It's a pleasure to meet you. You are?
Plika.
Plika.
At least that's what my good friends call me.
Why,
Of
you're the
course,
most
being the only being in the universe, her good friends were only herself and her potato peeler.
I see. You've a tool there.
Yes, and it's a tool that I use to create you.
I would like a tool as well. Perhaps one I could use to make potatoes?
To make potatoes.
Perhaps...
Come, you shall be a potato maker. Dip your right foot into that well.
The well was the well of Anak that had floated from time immemorial through dimensions and at last came to light before them.
But before you immerse your foot, you must wish for potato making abilities.
The time of waiting
Go ahead.
was over.
Why, look at this. Wherever I step, in my wake, potatoes spring from the ground. This is wonderful. My wish has come true.
As had mine. And now I am going to make you the biggest potato stew, and a surprise will come from it.
And so she spent exactly 1 year's time perfecting her potato stew. And upon the first taste, something interesting had occurred. Something unexpected.
Come, Pot.
That is most unexpected.
Now, jump up and down and see how your tummy feels.
But being unaccustomed to having potatoes in his tummy, he at once vomited and vomited up the great forests of the earth.
Pot, it's beautiful! You've created a forest!
I have.
And look at the beautiful green color.
I wish to make more. For the
And
more...
so he ingested more potatoes. And this time he vomited all the great deserts and mountains of the earth. Yet his hunger was not satiated.
Please, more, more!
Well, what is needed now seems to be...
More potato stew!
Oh, go ahead.
And upon his third consumption of the potato stew, it came out the other end, which was quite offensive to the goddess.
Ooh, your best work yet.
And thus was created the underworld.
Dear Pot, I think maybe it's time for us to rest.
Yes.
Look at the great work that you have done. Forests and deserts and the underworld.
I wish to reside over all of this to watch it and keep it safe.
And maybe rule it as well.
Anouk, you would allow me to watch over and rule all that my functions have created?
Absolutely.
It was exciting and disgusting all at the same time.
And with this newfound power, hubris grew in his heart.
Yes, I should be in charge. In fact, I think I could make this potato stew. Maybe I could have that peeler.
No. I did not say you could be in charge. I said you could supervise. I am the ruler, and this is my peeler.
Well, Nuke, perhaps we might have you taste some of the potato soup and spin around until you feel sick, and then see what comes out of you.
What a good idea, she thought.
Go ahead.
As she took the first bite of her own stew, she felt a rumbling in her tummy. And she bent over, and out came a great wind that blew across the earth and rustled the leaves on the trees and picked up the sand from the desert, blowing them into a storm.
And the two of them continued to create, yet ambition and hubris and lust for power had taken root in the heart of Pot, and it would not be appeased. Later that evening, when the great goddess slept, he stole her potato peel.
He was careful not to make a noise. She snored in her sleep, and it frightened him.
He tried desperately not to vomit.
Some of that potato stew was still in his stomach, and he had a little burst.
Whoa!
And thus was born Hawaii.
With the potato peeler in hand, he went to the fountain where the stew was and looked at his reflection. Upon looking at the reflection, he said,
What have I done?
You have stolen from the great goddess.
So what? I'm just as good as her.
You are not.
The voice he was hearing was the birth of conscience.
You have done poorly.
I haven't even tried to make the stew yet. Ah! Ow!
That's what you get for being a jerk. If I were you, and in a very real way I am, I would be ashamed to dwell here above the land. I would go and live in my own underworld.
I suppose that's the fate I deserve. Living amongst my own underworld.
And so Pot traveled down to the land of his own diarrhea.
Just then, Plika awoke. The great goddess realized the potato peeler was missing. So she went down to find Pot.
Oh, I knew you'd have it.
Plika, I'm sorry. I tried to wield the great potato peeler and I got a boo-boo.
As well as you deserve. I warned you.
Yes, you did, and I didn't listen.
No. And you have broken my heart. I made you to keep me company. And now, you've ruined everything. I have to enjoy my potato stew by myself. Because from now on, you are not allowed back up.
Very well. Then I shall dwell down here And from now on, I'll kick at the ceiling, and the potatoes will burst forth from under the ground.
At least you will leave some positive legacy then.
And thus Pot became the lord of the underworld and the lord of potato growth. Meanwhile, the great goddess returned to the heavens, where all was still darkness, but she wanted to always keep a vigilant eye on her enemy beneath the surface of the land. And so she created the sun so that she could see him by day, and the moon so that she could see him by night, and all of the stars just because she thought they were pretty.
And so, time grew, and the universe and the heavens were born. But what is a universe without the many different types of creatures that inhabit the world? And thus begins our tale of the animal world. Lord Canoe, could you please tell us what tool was used to create the first animal?
That me or him? That's me. Oh.
Yes. Of course, you know the tale of the first tool.
Oh, right. It was the card shuffler.
A device to shuffle various cards, yes. And we all know the story of which animal first came to be. Aardvark. Yes. Once upon a time, a new god came to be. This god was named Sono. And Sono was the god of fertility. Being grown from the earth itself, Sono would use his daily time to meander throughout the various parts of the world and gaze at the beauty.
Yes, it is a beautiful world that Pot has spewed, but it needs populace. Yes, I should go to the great card reader. She should know what should come of this.
The great goddess of reading the cards lived in a marvelous palace called Casino.
Great goddess, it is I, the most fertile one.
I am more than happy to see you.
Yes, well, I have not come for that this day. I wish to see in your cards what lies ahead, what things could populate this great world that lies beneath us.
And so the goddess of cards loaded her card shuffler and shuffled.
It seems to be taking a lot of time, but there's no sundials in here for me to tell how long.
Wait. Pick a card, any card. Don't let me see it. Put it back in the deck. I see an animal.
And thus was born the first annoying sleight of hand magician.
Animal. Yes, that's what we need.
I shall call it an aardvark.
And as she gestured towards the ground, a blaze of light grew from the surface, and when the light faded away, there was the ark.
Yes, it's beautiful. But of course, everything needs fertility and love. We must have another so it can have something to love.
Then come to my room. Oh, all right. Here, pick another card.
Oh, this one's beautiful. It has a long, gracious neck and spots. I shall call it the giraffe.
Give it to me. I shall create
And at once another blaze of light, and there stood the world's first giraffe. And the giraffe and the aardvark found love.
Let the mating games begin.
They had many children, one of which became the zebra. The next, the antelope. And another, a frog. And thus these animals continued to mate and continued to create more animals. Soon the god of fertility was overwhelmed.
Well, card shuffler.
Yes, my God.
He was especially overwhelmed when the animals tried to mate with him.
Yes. This is all well and good, card shuffling. Okay, enough of this.
Set!
They are not of my image. I cannot bring myself to mate with any of these four-legged creatures. I need something that stands on two legs with lustrous skin and wonderful hair. Something that, why, you just aren't.
Well,
Did that frog say something?
la-ti-da.
Please, let me pick of your deck. I can find something lovely to walk these earth.
And so the card shuffler handed the deck to Sono. There were 2 cards left in the deck. He chose one and looked at it.
Oh, it's magnificent. Oh, it looks... Why, it looks like... It was, of course, the Queen of Hearts.
A woman.
Yes, please.
And so the card shuffler created the woman.
And the woman was beautiful. And the woman looked upon the god and felt towards him as did the antelope.
Oh, my. Yes, yes. You shall have more civility than those crass animals. I shall call you Clara.
I like that name.
But in the deck there remained one last card.
And Clara, for all time, you
Yes.
shall love me.
Okay.
And never put your eyes upon another.
Okay.
Card shuffler, you can be off now with your single card.
There is one left.